Aloha, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation. And my guest today is Linda Hogan. She is the author of Envision Your Extraordinary Life, Living Happy, Joyous, and Free. She's also a strategic learning and business performance improvement coach. So, the topic of our conversation, Linda, is from vision to reality, living a beautiful life that benefits everyone. So this is the title of this interview. But I want to thank you for your presence in my life at so many levels. Your commitment to a joyful life, which to me goes back to healing and then spirituality. So everything is connected. So thank you so much for being here and for being in my life. And also, I have to say, she's one of the board members of our Kauai Joy Lab. The first question that I usually ask everyone, and I have to start with that question again for you. We talked off record, is how would you introduce yourself? Who is Linda in this very moment?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on this podcast, Valeria, and I'm honored to be here with you. How do I describe myself? Well, as a spiritual being, and right at this moment, I am joyful, my heart is singing, and life is good, and I'm
Mm,
grateful.
yes. What's not to love about that answer? Is one that I, in a way, kind of I long to hear from everyone. And I'm happy with what I am, where my life is at. I'm just really happy with this moment and with myself. I mean, this is a profound answer. If maybe that's why I keep asking the question. Perhaps I want to hear this from
Mm,
everyone. I'm
mm.
really, yeah. So yes, putting that aside for a moment. I want to begin with this. It's a paragraph, a statement that you made about what a vision is. You said, a vision is a bold, vivid picture in your mind, fueled by emotion and all your five senses. A compelling, positive, personal vision describes the deepest yearning of your heart and draws you toward that future. So, just to clarify, is that something that is it you wrote this, Linda? Did I find this in your book, or am I quoting
I did
somebody else?
write that. Yes, yes, yes.
So,
And I believe that that's true. And so much has been written about vision and what vision can do. I think we all have this um, an incessant urge to become to
right.
become our ideal selves. And the vision then is the picture of what that would look like. And so, yes, there's a lot of talk about getting more money and abundance. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's equally important to look at inside of ourselves,
yeah,
and are we joyful and happy? And I'm learning now. I think we learn things and then we relearn them at a higher level.
yeah,
That
yeah,
I can be in an easy and relaxed manner
mm,
um,
yeah,
while I'm pursuing my goals and my vision.
mm,
And when a vision is fueled by your emotion, it gives it more power, and you
yeah,
can see it, then it does draw you towards it. And in a way, your mind does not know the difference between actually experiencing something and just visualizing it. There's all kinds of research, especially in sports,
right,
that envisioning a sport, physical skill, actually builds muscle and actually builds the skill. And in the same way, envisioning my future, I can try on different outfits or try on different scenarios and see what's more interesting to me. And it brings me closer because then I start thinking about what really matters to me, what's
Right.
really important, and how do I get there? Some people say it doesn't so much matter that you figure out how to get there.
Right.
Uh, I like to set some more concrete goals with my visions, um, but but then let go.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's not a holding on.
yeah.
It's a seeing
Yeah.
it there. It's like
Mm,
um, seeing a movie,
mm,
that's
mm,
coming out when they show you a reel of that
yeah.
movie. It's
Yeah.
our future reel when we
Mm.
have a vision, and it's powerful.
Yes. It is very powerful. I absolutely agree, because it feels to me like it fulfills something deeper within ourselves, but also almost like it also fulfills this a collective sort of yearning or search. There's something about the alignment um, with the vision that's from my perspective has been very universal, more than it's almost like through the personal it kind of connects to the universal. And then if it is coming yeah from the heart, you mentioned there yearning, the deepest yearning of your heart, that really stays with me when I hear that from you. And you have been inspiring me throughout this whole journey of kind of understanding the difference between a vision and a dream and a calling and the soul's purpose. Is there a difference, Linda?
Well, I think of a dream as ideas that we have about what we want or what we
Right.
see, what we like. And a vision is really putting it all together, the important ones.
Mm.
So for example, I could dream. I have kept a dream list since 1978,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, it's a lot of pages.
Yeah.
And so I wrote that I wanted a red Corvette. Well, after a while, I crossed that out because I really don't care about having a Corvette.
Yes.
I do like a red car. I do like a
Yeah.
nice car, but that wasn't important to me. And so
Mm.
a vision is most powerful when it relies on and is aligned with your purpose, which is your
Ah,
why. Why are you here? Uh,
yes.
what skills and
Mm,
behaviors do you have that
mm,
you can bring to the world? And
mm,
some say it's the intersection of your skills and what the world needs.
mm.
So for
Ah,
you, I know for your amazing vision, um,
yeah.
that Hawaii needs what you are giving,
Mm,
and Fit for Joy, your
yeah.
business is meeting a need. And
Mm.
I think it's all to bring joy. I think that's your mission. Is that true?
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, yeah. A billion yeses to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it is. It has been my own, um, let's say, unfolding and understanding of life itself from my own personal challenges, and then looking outward too, and kind of seeing my family and friends, communities, and then wondering why people wouldn't be more open to have conversations about their inner world. Like, for example, the question that we usually ask, how are you? And then you see a lot of us answer that question in a very guarded way, per se. It's very
Mm-hmm.
culturized, over, they say cultural, over culturing per se. Like you do what is acceptable and what has been done before, so you kind of follow that kind of uh, that platform. But there's something about this idea that we can be truthful and we can be present in the moment and answer a question, a simple question, with honesty, coming from our own deeper sense of being and not being guarded about it. There's something about that always fascinated me. And I was wondering why so many people are not in contact with that. Why can you answer that question in a very honest way? Oh, because it changes. We constantly change as a body, mind. There's something about life that's very, it's known to us all that change is constant. So I would love to see that more too, that we can embrace changes of thoughts, of our bodies, the way our bodies are feeling in the moment, intuitively, energetically,
Mhm.
healthily, and just speaking from that place. That's very real, very honest, very true. So yes,
It
going back to
is.
them, right?
I
So
think
joy. Oh yes, Linda. Yeah.
I think a lot of people will only answer how are you with fine or okay is
Yes.
either they don't really know, they're not in touch with their emotions, or
Right.
their
Right.
upbringing taught them that it isn't nice to say anything
Mm.
negative. So in my
Mm.
house growing up, for example, I
Mm.
felt like there was a sign over the door. There really wasn't. And it said, the only emotion allowed here is a happiness.
Right. Ah.
So anger was not allowed, sadness was not
Mm.
allowed.
Right. Ah. Yes, that is yeah, that's unfortunate that we are creating limitations, right, Linda, for what a human being can be, can express, can learn, can unlearn.
Mm,
There are no
mhm,
limitations when it comes to that. Yeah, and
mhm.
that's the
Yeah,
danger of.
I had a
Mhm.
friend who explained it this way that it's like they're only using 3 colors out of the crayon
Mm,
box.
mm, yes.
When,
Yeah,
we can create our life and we can use all the colors. We can
yes,
use all the emotions, and it's
yes,
okay, and we can have multiple emotions at the same time.
right,
I could feel very sad and still be joyful.
right, right, right. And that's something that the idea of this vision of Kauai Joy Lab, or the idea of tapping into joy, is also the exploration of what joy is from our own perspective. Kind of, the evolution of that too, from day to day, from what we learn from one another, and looking deeper into ourselves. So it's all about that. Even when I think about uh, the joy of being grateful. I mean, there's joy everywhere in being grateful, in being forgiving, the joy of being
Mhm.
kind. So there's so many ways that we can tap into this joyful feeling. It's a very warm, nurturing feeling to the heart, where we feel like we are not just accepted by ourselves, kind of we are coming from wholeness, but then it's also something that's helpful to the outside world. So being
Oh,
grateful, being
sure.
kind, right, being loving, all these things. So I
Yeah,
love the
all that
exploration.
radiates out to other people. It's a ripple effect. Yes.
That's it. Yeah, that's
So
it.
I'd love to hear more about your vision for Kauai Joy Lab.
Oh my God, Linda, I had a lot of questions for you before that, but I start talking about, yeah, I couldn't help it. So, yeah, just for a moment, yes, I would love to talk
You'll
to you
answer
about
that.
that, and we will, yes. But I would like, for those who don't know you yet, I would love for them, because you have been an inspiration to me and a very, very potent contributor to this project, the Kauai Joy Lab. So before that, Talk to me about your book, Envision Your Extraordinary Life, Living Happy, Joyous, and Free, and how it came to be. What was the inspiration for you to write a book like that?
Okay. Oh, well, my mission is to enable individuals and organizations to create and implement a vision, a compelling vision for success for their future,
Yeah.
and to implement it. And so that's why I'm aligned with what you're doing, because I'd love your vision, and it's exciting to me. Here is my book,
Mm,
Envision
yes,
Your Extraordinary Life.
I wanna get
And I had the idea to write this book for about more than 20 years. And I think a lot of people who have written books have just sat on it and procrastinated about it for a long time. But the impetus to it was I was in early recovery from alcoholism. And so I haven't had a drink in 41 years, and I'm so grateful for that.
mm,
But
yeah.
in early recovery, I was working with a group of women, and I have a background in goal setting. And I had read Shakti Gawain's book on
Mm,
creative visualization, and then a
mm,
lot of other books about visualization. So I met with this group of women uh, once a month um, on a Saturday morning. They'd come in, we'd have coffee and muffins and chit
yeah,
chat, and then we would sit down, and I would lead them in a guided imagery or guided meditation about their future and what it would be like maybe in 5, 10, 15 years. That scares some people. So some people want to shrink it down to 3 years, and that's okay
yeah,
too.
yeah.
And so I would lead them in that and then ask them to write down their dreams. And then we went through a process of setting goals. And I then, of course, obstacles would come up. And so we'd have a guided imagery on how do you overcome those obstacles. So maybe you just, you see a brick, what looks like a brick wall in front of you. And then when you get closer, you see it's just tissue paper and you can go right through.
Mm,
Because that
yeah,
is truly like a lot of the obstacles that we perceive are horrific or so challenging that in reality they may not be that difficult. Our perception is important. So, anyways, each month the women would come back and they would had set goals. They would talk about what they accomplished, and phenomenal things happened to them.
yeah.
So, for example, Liza wrote, always wanted to be a writer. And she went on to, she envisioned seeing her book on the bookshelves
Mm,
in a bookstore. And now she has 3 books
wow,
on the shelves.
wow,
And
beautiful.
so
Uh,
I have a lot of stories like that. And then I interviewed people who I knew who had a vision. Like Dennis Archer was former 2-term mayor of Detroit, Michigan, and included the guided imageries and included the process that we went through in order to create the vision and then execute it, make it
wow,
happen. And so that's why I wanted to write the book, to share it. And so that's what the book consists of. And it's very exciting. It's I'm just right now working on a workbook. I just sent it off to be formatted that will
yeah.
go along with this book.
Mm,
And and I've still been leading women on a monthly basis, and now I call it a visionary women's group.
mm,
And we
mm,
meet once a month for 6 months, and phenomenal
yeah,
things have happened with them. A woman coming in who's in debt, and been working at a company for over 20 years, then goes on to not only get out of debt, but she gets a $10,000 windfall.
Wow.
She's envisioning this extra $10,000, and then
Mm.
coincidentally,
Uh-huh.
and they
Yes, I
say,
like
I'm making quote marks if you're just listening to this.
that.
Uh,
Yes.
is it odd or is it God? Right?
Mm, yeah, right,
Um,
right.
her company had made a mistake on something and had to pay her $10,000 to make up for their end of it. Other
Wow.
women, everybody wants to get stronger, be thinner, and be more active, right? Fit. People want to be fit.
Yes.
And so that's a big habit change for a
Mm,
lot of people. And so one woman wanted to get stronger. She was walking every day. And so she said, I just can't get that habit changed. And
mm,
so I suggested to her that she combine it with walking, like do it after she walks or do it before she walks. So it's
right.
part of the same routine. And she's been doing that and successful. She also didn't know if she wanted to stay in her job.
Mm,
And as we went through the 6 months, she realized that they
mm,
were not treating her very well. And
yeah.
so she started applying for other jobs, and it turns out she found the perfect job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
real life changes over just a few months. And, if
Mm,
people are sitting there wishing, I wish something was different, I wish I could do this or had this or went went here or went there, you can make it happen.
mm, mm,
But write it down. Writing it down is so important
true.
because it crystallizes your thought and it's a
Mm,
record of what you said you wanted, and you can
right.
refer back to it. And then you start seeing it in your mind,
Yeah.
picturing it, and you start noticing ways that you can accomplish it. And circumstances shift
Mm,
so that it just can happen. People become more empowered, more confident, because the more you see it,
mm,
the more you can feel like, yeah, I can
yeah.
do this. And your confidence builds.
Right.
So it's a mental and physical, spiritual, emotional process.
Mm, mm.
Did I answer that
Yes.
question
Yes.
now?
Oh, you answered that and more, and more. Yes. So it shows clearly how crucial it is also to be guided, the importance of that. So, my question is, to realize some of the visions that you have realized yourself, did you have guidance as well? What I know you mentioned, yeah, books and other, of course you had other mentors too, but do you
Hmm.
have one that comes to mind, like a person that comes to mind, or a book that was really really helpful as well in your own journey, on your own journey?
Well, I was also brought up to do everything by myself. So when I'm leading these groups and guiding other people, I'm also being guided by them because I
Ah,
share what
yeah.
my goals are and they give me feedback and they give me support.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
also recently hired someone to um,
Yeah.
improve my social media, my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And it's humbling to ask for help, but it's
Yeah.
really very valuable and worth it. And you have helped me, Valeria.
Ah,
You've
yeah,
helped to
we have helped.
promote my book in these podcasts that you have. That's what you do.
Right, right. So we are helping one another, guiding, and that's very humble. You said that to me yesterday. We talked, and you said, yes, we are helping one another. We are learning from one another. I think you mentioned that teaching and learning. So it's that
Hmm.
humble kind of experience. Yes, that's another thing that's important to be open to, right, Linda? To be humble, to be flexible too, open and flexible when we have a vision, especially if it is a really, really big one per se, like the Kauai Joy Lab. It feels like, and it is quite large. So it's important to be also realistic and also open to change and make some changes here and there. And because the project, the vision could take its own kind of form unfolding, right, Linda? Is that something that often happens?
Oh, yes. But we don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
actually. You know, so one of my visions was that my husband and I would travel all over the world. I didn't
Mm.
even have a passport when I wrote
Right.
this down. We were 22 years old.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and it turns out I did get a
Mm,
passport,
mm,
and we went to Mexico and Canada, but
mm,
I as far as going to Europe or South America, I just
mm.
didn't know how to do that.
Right.
But I got a job where I was asked to go to these places. So I've been to Brazil and I've worked in
Mm,
Mexico, and I have was asked to lead a learning team
mm,
in Europe for an
mm.
automotive supply company, and I had 10 people working for me and 80 different manufacturing sites that we supported, so,
Wow.
throughout Europe, in
Right.
15 countries. So I went to all those countries. My family went to all those countries. So, I'm
Mhm.
picturing it that I'm going for pleasure. I mean, we've done that too, believe me. But
Yes, I can imagine.
yeah, yeah, my husband in this case is the big planner on
Mm.
this. We did a Mediterranean trip, and then
Oh,
um, last year we did uh, Norway, Denmark, Estonia,
oh,
um, and
yeah. Oh, yes.
Lithuania, Latvia, and
Wow.
yeah. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so we don't
amazing.
know when we write down our vision how it's going to take
Yeah.
place, because I little me, I don't have the whole picture.
Mm, mm, mm.
I just
Yeah.
usually I get more than I ask for,
Mm. Yes. Yes. Yes.
in an
You
amazing way.
Yes, you answered my question beautifully. It has been my experience too. Yeah, it's always a lot more than we can imagine with our own limited kind of
Hmm.
minds. Yes, I have experienced that too. So it's important to be flexible. I see that's one of the components too. Another thing that I'm curious about, Linda, is about the relationship to dreams. You mentioned that writing your dreams is very important. Can you tell me why is that so?
It's important so that you remember what dreams you want to pursue. It's also important because it fuels your imagination. When you write something down, then uh, you remember it better,
Right, right.
and you start seeing connections among the different dreams that you have, and that could form a goal.
Yeah.
or a vision, complete vision. So I think it's very important to write it down because that then you're going to remember to do it. And once you've done it, you'll know it's because you decided that.
Yes. Oh, I see. It was something that, yeah, it's in align with you. Yeah, it's very much in
Yes.
alignment. So, okay, so maybe I misunderstood that for a moment. So, dream is not the dreams that we have at night. It's basically the dreams
No.
that we have in the sense of wanting the things that we long for, right? In our awakened
Yes.
lives world, not just the
Yes.
dreams at night.
Yes. What
I
are the things that bring you joy?
Right. Okay. Ah, that's very good. I do write it down my dreams at night too, because they
Okay.
tend to reveal a lot. It's kind of like, for example, the Kawaii Joy Lab idea, the very first insight I had that came through the mind, and I was awake, fully awake during the day. And then at nighttime, I started dreaming about a place that was filled with nature. It didn't matter what side where I looked at it, I would see nature, I would see trees, I would see fields of grass. So it really, and then I started kind of typing, on online, kind of researching, trying to find out what would match that imagery. I was having those dreams at night, one after another, like what would match that? And then Kawaii came, like that, just that appeared on the screen, and that's when I said, wait a minute, that's it. That's what the insight was about. That's what my dreams are trying to tell me. This is the play. It was just my entire body, mind, being kind of melted in a way and became it's almost out of this world, with this. Was a feeling of contentment that I had already arrived. In a sense, I was already living that. That
That's amazing. So,
I
what
know.
happens in the creativity process is once you get a spark of an idea, which you had, then you go through an incubation period of
Mm,
time. And that's when you
yeah.
slept and more ideas came.
Yes.
And then you started doing some research and better formulating what that vision would look like. And you felt it in your heart, right?
Right. Yeah.
That this is the
Powerful.
right thing.
The connection. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. That was
So
it.
now, can you tell us about your vision?
Yes. So I have already been doing this for a long time, right? This search for a way of living a life that is in alignment, was in alignment with my heart. And when I speak of the heart, I guess it's like pretty much I'm speaking of the soul too. That's quite spiritual. Or we can say it's just something that for some people who are not really as spiritual as I am, or you are, Linda, and so many of us, we have this relationship with something that's beyond this life only. So, but anyway, when I was very little, I remember being very, very almost like free to feel these emotions, especially the feeling of contentment, of being in the moment. And that to me was joy. Now I kind of translate the language would be joy. So I'm in the moment. I don't worry about anything that will come in the future will happen, and I'm not really stuck or overthinking about the past. So I'm in the present moment. Everything feels like almost like a playground, like a place that I can discover and uncover and kind of explore with curiosity. And being open to it, open-hearted.
Hmm.
It feels like very, very, very light and very playful, at the same time very magical and very wise. And that's the experience I had when I was a child. So it felt so, yeah, that was it. And then if I could describe it precisely, and then something happened where there was a disconnection. I couldn't really, from one moment to another, I remember losing that feeling. Now I was concerned about my safety, and I didn't know what would happen next. And I was worried about going to sleep or going somewhere or being dressed in a certain way, kind of being very let's say self-conscious about even the way I approached strangers or the children or the little kids. So and that was the beginning of kind of walking through life through the lens of being disconnected to my natural self, which is our natural self. And
Mhm.
that has been that marked my that relates to what's happening now with this vision that I have for Kawaii Joy Lab. And then, but even prior to this, doing this work for the last 10 years and with fitforjoy.org and doing all these, I wrote books and I did this interview, I met just incredible, amazing, beautiful people. So, and why I had to, in a way, it was a vision, but at the same time, it was almost like a calling to return to what was natural. So basically, we we call it suffering. That's exactly what it is. I think being disconnected from our true self, from our true nature, or what's natural to us, it leads into suffering. So I was trying to go
Mhm.
back to that natural state, throughout my entire life. That was from the age of 7 to pretty much 37. So it was 30
That's
years
painful.
of search, yeah, of getting to that point. And then it evolved, of course. It's a long journey. I wrote a book about it, but it's and then came to this moment now speaking to you here about something that I clearly see because I have been experiencing myself from a place of discovery and also of a place of curiosity still and open to the possibility that we can do this together. That's why I call Joy Lab that those, I mean, just that came to me too in a creative kind of way, that if we can be curious, if we can be more playful, go back, even within the search of the natural selves, we can be more playful about it and not see something as I used to, something's wrong with me. Maybe something's wrong with me. Maybe that's why I'm suffering so much. So that when I dropped that and I just kind of went more with wait a minute, no, nothing's wrong with me. I just have to go back to that feeling again, to that way of living that was natural, that I was open. So why can I be open again? Maybe I can be open again to this this search of returning. So let me be open and see what could lead me to that place again. And that's when my own discoveries kind of came into being. And that's why perhaps I see, Linda, it might be that's why this vision came through me as well as an insight, and then dreams, and then the whole vision of
Mhm.
wait a minute, maybe if we have nature, nature will mirror, reflect back to us what it's like to be our own medicine, what it's like to be free to kind of let life unfold, even through challenges we can still kind of have a sense of humor, we can still kind of practice gratitude, forgiveness, understanding. Perhaps we can still do that, in the face of any kind of challenge. We see that clearly with nature. We see animals and we see
Mhm.
trees, how they kind of dance, with the storms. They just move with whatever comes to them. And there's no complaining. They are just in this state of being what they are here to be. And I do feel strongly that we are here to be joyful. We are here to kind of come from that expression of joy. I really feel that way.
Yes, yes. And what I hear you saying too is when we're in nature, we're connected to nature
Mm,
and we're
mm,
connected. It's when we think that we are separate from everybody else or different from everybody else that we cut
right.
ourselves off from the spirit, from that feeling of wholeness.
Yes. 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 Ah, yes. Yes. So the more we kind of connect with not just ourselves, but then others, yeah, we are able to see that too, especially if we come into this environment. I remember the question that really, really inspired me to kind of, intuitively delve into more of the description of this vision is one of the questions that you sent to me. it says, I think you mentioned about smell and the taste. What I mean, that
Yeah,
was just
I
so playful. I
did.
love the way you say that. Oh, here it is. You said describe the vision. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like?
What does it sound like?
That is, I mean, that is so it kind of makes us, in a sense, you guiding us to tap into our own sensory, all sensory perceptions, and then into our own truth too, the natural kind of essence of what we are, because then we are, it's almost like this waterfall of, of magical ideas that's natural, feels very natural to us, and it's already there. It's like this fount, this I mean, I'm picturing a waterfall for some reason. So but what does it look like, feel like, smell like, and sound like? I'm wondering if you can explain this a little bit better before I go into it, because I have a very imaginative kind of mind, too creative, and I can just go on for 5 hours. So when we are kind of trying to describe that, it's something that it's important that we feel ourselves, kind of put ourselves into the imaginative kind of realm, or should we bring other people into it too and see them kind of having the experience?
Well, you should be feeling how you feel, let yourself feel, and just imagine that it's 1 year, 2 years from now, and you've received a lot of donations and grants, and it has, Valeria, it has come to fruition.
Right.
You are there, and let's say you are, if you could put yourself in the place of
Mm,
someone visiting for the first time, say they're going to
mm,
spend a couple days there,
yeah.
what
Yeah.
could they experience? What would that look like to them?
Mm. So yes, that's, thank you for answering my question. I was trying to get into that, like what would they experience from my perspective, of course.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
yes. So because there's the Kauai Joy Lab is about, or it's for people who are in need of inner discovery, healing, self understanding, self knowledge, expansion, growth. So that would be the picture of that person. So they are trying to figure out how they can live a life that's in alignment with their hearts, a life that without unnecessary suffering, where they're going to have been through challenges, and I would say trauma has been my experience. And then we are trying to understand, because it can be very confusing a lot of times. It has been my case too. So yes, it's a place that when you walk in, it feels, resembles nature itself. It's almost like walking in. You probably heard about something. I think there's one here on Kauai called the Nature Church, the Church of Nature. So you walk in and you kind of feel like you're in nature. I know it's an enclosed environment that has walls and all, but it still feels like I feel nurtured, and I feel like expansive and somehow embraced and understood by the frequencies and the resonance of the place itself, because that's the intention. We want to kind of create this almost like nurture, that the place
Okay.
itself with these energies that will bring healing in itself. So that's the first feeling when you walk in. You're already, your shoulders drop, you just feel more relaxed. And basically, I would say the word relaxed, perhaps, because a lot of people understand that more.
Mhm.
That's easy to understand. I
Right.
just relax. And I don't know why, but I feel very relaxed to hear. And then I picture a circle. So it's in a circle, it's a circular, and it's nice square. And then it has different, side by side, of course, they're almost like booth like places, where every place offers a different pathway to what you're looking for. But they are different. Per se, one is offering therapy, talk therapy, somebody sitting there calmly and just open for you to come and talk about anything that you feel like talking. And then you walk maybe you look probably across the room, and then you see another booth, perhaps pink one. And they are different colors too, very colorful ones. Maybe there's a pink one, and that one there's an energy healer. Somebody that has it's very colorful, a lot of lights, and it has a lot of crystals. And then this person is beautifully sitting there calmly too, and has perhaps she has some crystals. She's holding some crystals, and then she's inviting you to kind of sit down and kind of, if you want to, kind of, explore the world of colors, of crystals, and talk about them, ask questions about them. Um, Energy healing is usually, it's a very interesting kind of a modality too, because it can be somatic, so you feel it right away with the body, like something, in your heart space. Anyway, and then you keep going, and every booth they offer different ways of self discovery, so it can help you to kind of uncover again that feeling of joy. And one of the most important things that I feel it's kind of really really important is that you walk in, and then you choose what resonates with you, what invites you the most, what's intuitively feels like it's a calling in that moment. So you're not really persuaded or kind of pushed to do anything or forced to try anything. You just try it out of your own inner curiosity. Yeah, I don't know if that answered. I was
Yes,
going
yes,
here. Yeah, I could see everything in a sense.
yes. That's beautiful. That's a
I
great
know.
vision.
I love the idea. I really do, Linda. Also because I think I mentioned that I think we created the whole was a pitch deck, a presentation. And I was thinking about the retreats, because retreats, they offer programs. They're usually very structured too. So you go to a retreat, you probably have been to one, and I have too. And then throughout the
Yes.
day, you have different programs, right? Different things that you can
Hmm.
do. So, and I feel like that's limited in a sense, because we are not the same, and we have different needs, all of us. We're so different.
Mm.
So I feel like it's very important that kind of we are giving this opportunity to choose. I choose, what experience I want to have in the exploration of joy, of my own way of being joyful in the world. So I choose that. So that's, to me, is
And
very important
that in
too.
itself is empowering.
Yes, that's right. Especially for people like where I come from. Yeah, that I felt
Mm-hmm.
that I had no power at all, that I couldn't control the negative imprints from the past, and
Right.
then I had perhaps that's the reason I I kind of resisted therapy, because it felt like it was something that um, I would feel even less empowered. Like, in a sense, you tell
Mm.
me, anybody who told me exactly what to do, I had that feeling of disempowerment every time. Oh, you do this, one, two, three, and you get. And that never resonated with me. Of course, some people might benefit, and I'm not saying that therapy is one of the forms of healing. It's a preparation ground. It's a beautiful way of preparing us for even deeper types of healing and empowerment, in the sense of having visions like I do now, like oh, Linda,
Mm.
all these people that you mentioned, that they feel empowered by having their own vision then. So
Yes.
I truly 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 believe that that's what we need, really. First, we need to have a space that is empowering, so we can believe in ourselves again, because we do lose contact with our own intuition, and we feel like yeah, there's nothing else but just kind of go with the culture, go with what is expected from us, because that's all we have learned to do. and it did get better, and our society still does that. So yes, yeah, that's it. I love that you mentioned the empowerment part, because yes.
Hmm. Yes, because when we're just going along with what society says, we're not growing. We're not making actively participating in life.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely it. In a very kind way, of course. As you and I, we have that very much as a value of, nah. Let's say, nah. We're not assigning. We don't create this idea that of separateness, right, Linda? And it's not about, me against them. We That's something that, it's not helpful when it comes to any form of well-being. So it's just a discernment that's important to have, especially when it comes to healing. It's very, very important.
Mm.
Men and women, perhaps women need more, but it's, yes, that we know that we have a space that we can just be ourselves and choose for ourselves, especially
Yes.
yeah, in that specific moment, even if it is only that space that offers that. But we do need, that kind of push.
Mm. Hmm.
So,
That's
I
powerful.
wanted, oh gosh, I can't wait to do, like we call the pilot, right? We just put this into action and see how other people feel about it.
So,
um,
what will the pilot be like?
Yes. So the pilot idea, we wouldn't have the, let's say, like customized, or this space that was specifically built for, for the resonance and the frequency of healing. Perhaps we won't have that, or maybe we will. We would. Maybe if we do it in nature, that would be a beautiful idea too. So yeah. So when it comes to the pilot, we can do it. It could be perhaps like we mentioned before, Linda. We talked about, almost like a market, like a free, like a farmer's market.
Hmm.
This space. Yeah, and then we have all these stands, and all, each one of them also again offering this different form of healing, which I call it really a doorway to joy. So there, there's a possibility if you go there, and talk to that person, and then if you make eye contact and you, in their presence, perhaps something magic could happen, and then you would kind of, ended up seeing something in yourself that needs to be seen, that needs to be heard and felt. And that's why, it's very important that, for me, it's really, really crucial that everyone who participate in this project, they are heart centered. They know what we, I mean, obviously that's why this is a nonprofit. We are creating the nonprofit because it's mission driven. So it's
Hmm.
very vision grounded. So we know what we want. We want to do, or what's the goal is. So yes, so it could be an open space. And then we have all different kinds, again, stands. Instead of selling fruits, we are selling a door to your own kind of joyful self. And I also envisioned, I mean, you're so amazing, Linda. I love your work because it kind of taps into my soul, in a sense of creativity. I just become so creative. And then I think about the mall. It could be also like some sort of a mall, not like a commercial mall, but maybe a place that, when we see these, what do you call them? Are they like commercial retail stores where you have? I think you probably have seen the salon. They have like, a space with lots of little, a big space with a lot of other little spaces that
Hmm.
they have, gray hairdressers, offering different kinds of,
Yes.
of
Yes.
kind of beauty stuff. So instead of that, we would have healing, everything, anything, healing, anything, doorway to joy.
So it's
So
like
yeah,
a healing fair, like their
yes,
health fairs that have
right,
different tables of services that people could provide. And I like how you
yes,
call it a joy lab, because
yeah.
what that triggers in me is that it's an experiment. and
Right.
that
Yeah.
we're experimenting with, what works for us.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. What works for us. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It doesn't have to
Yes,
work for
yes.
everyone. Yeah. Not it's not made for it's not cookie cutter, I think they call it. Yeah. It's
Not
not one
cookie
fits
cutter,
all.
right? Right.
Right. No.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So how is that I have a question for you, Linda. Is that so when a vision, let's say this vision came through me, right? Because perhaps because of my, like I mentioned, because of my history with trauma, and then my whole journey of 30 years trying to find joy my own way. So would you say that by bringing other people together, like you and the team we have, and other, companies, because you work with companies with all lots of people, is that
Yes.
kind of amplifies the let's say the realization of that vision by dreaming
It does
together, by envisioning
amplify the
together?
realization. We're all in this together and we're helping each other. And that's why groups together are more effective than individual. And that's why I work with group, do group coaching, because people help one another, support one another, come up with
Mm,
ideas and build on the ideas.
right, right. So yes,
And
it's a big
it's
yes, right?
it's
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So even when for those who are watching this interview, even for those who are kind of lonely with their own vision right now, it's a very personal one. Is that important for them to find somebody that could support them in their vision, like hiring you or having a friend? Is that something that you always
Or
recommend as
joining
well?
a women's vision group.
Mm, yes.
It's very
Yeah.
important because it will help you to get there faster and
Mm,
easier
right.
by giving you support, ideas, just the synergy of working
Mm,
together. When we
yes.
communicate with each other, we add to it. It's not like a pie that you cut it and
Mm,
then you only have so many pieces, but
mm,
your joy builds my joy, and
right.
and then
Right.
your joy, it goes ripples out to others.
It's so true. Yes. I love the idea of communities, yeah, coming together. And I do understand also now more than ever. I'm somebody who never separates. So I walk in life very open, and that got myself, let's say, in trouble a lot of times by being very, very open. So, do you also recommend that we choose carefully those who kind of come to join us within the vision? Is that something that you recommend?
Yes, yes, yes. We want to surround ourselves with people who are positive
Right.
and who believe in us,
Yes.
not people who are negative and will say you can't do that or
Right.
that's not possible. You know,
Mm,
I
mm.
think each of us has limiting beliefs, and we want
Mm.
to go cut through those. And we don't need to surround ourselves with other people who are going to limit our beliefs. We want
Yes.
people who can give us positive energy.
Mm.
And likewise, we want to give positive energy to others.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Linda, for saying that. Yes, because that's very yeah, that feels to me, and it's very important too. Yeah, that's and in this some people like me, so I'm very spiritual in the sense that I have been my whole life kind of working throughout these 30 years, trying to understand like what's the big picture of life. And then it always came to me as a message that it's all about love, and it's about being open and being compassionate towards everyone and everything. So that's has been always the like the guiding principle, spiritual principle. But yet perhaps when it comes to something like this, realizing a vision, then it's important to be discerning too. And that's what you're saying, right, Linda? That we are not pushing away or being kind to others. Now I'm speaking to myself because it kind of hurts me if I feel like I'm hurting others or pushing away others. So, but it's
Mm.
not really. It's also that we need to be more discerning so we can really not just empower ourselves in our vision, but also realize something that can help so many others. So it's important to be
Yes.
discerning and create some boundaries in a kind way. That's why I'm saying that because it comes from my own experience of being, let's say, empathic and a little bit too much sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I was taught that when we do what's best for our highest self, that it's
Yeah.
also best for everybody else.
Mm,
It's in their
yes. Right.
highest interest.
Right. Some learning. Yeah, I have been learning this for the last years. Yeah, it has been
Mm-hmm.
an interesting learning experience. That's another thing that's to me it has been quite empowering is and beautiful is to see that we are all teachers and we are all students. I have met so many wise people, incredibly wise, but at the same time they're so humble and then they would say, I'm learning from you, and I'm like, oh my God, how can you
Mm-hmm.
be learning from me? But they would say that honestly and truthfully,
Yes,
I'm learning from you
it
too.
is honest. We teach so we can learn.
Right. And I have
When
seen
we
that.
say it, then we think of other ideas, or does that make sense, or how does that connect to this other issue? How could it solve
Right.
this problem?
Right, right, right. So that's another thing, another point to keep in mind. Yeah, humility is very important. And that's part of wisdom, really. So I wanted to mention your website. We're almost at the end, Linda. Envisionyourlife.coach. That's Linda's website. It will be clickable on the podcast notes. Did we forget anything, Linda, that we didn't talk? And then I would love to hear your final thoughts too for this conversation. Of course, we'll meet again one of these days. I would love to continue the conversation.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, I just encourage everyone to dream,
Mm.
write down your vision of how you see yourself, what your ideal self looks like, feels like, tastes like,
I love that.
what
I
what
love
the atmosphere feels like, where you're at.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
yes, write it down and then take the steps today.
Mm.
Take one step today that will bring you closer, and one step
Huh.
each day
Mm.
that will bring you
Yes.
closer.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for being the inspiration to me. Because every time before this vision, I remember like you would come into the field of awareness, like to mine, and then something would uplift me. Something would happen, like energetically. I would feel so happy. And I'm like, oh, what's happening? So every time I had the thought of you, something would happen. That's kind of interesting. Like it would be so positive, so
That is
uplifting.
interesting.
So yes. So you have this yeah, you have become the embodiment of something that's very, very important. Ah, I almost want to cry. Yeah,
Oh, well,
you
thank
have
you.
become, yeah, it's beautiful, Linda. You become this embodiment of what's possible. And, for people that have forgotten to dream, they have been, they're their deepest desires have been buried somewhere because of unnecessary suffering or whatever it is.
Hmm.
You become this light, this bright light. I mean, it has been my experience, really, really powerful, beautiful, and necessary in this world. So thank you so much for your contribution to joy.
Well, thank you for being in my life, Valeria.
Oh,
And
yeah, thank you.
I'm going to walk this journey to Joy Lab with you.
Oh my God. Yeah. And that's the gift. That was like, oh, really? When that came to be too, it was like, oh, that makes sense because I always felt really incredibly uplifted by her presence. So now it's almost like that alignment again. So the universe, universal intelligence knows what it does. Thank you so much again, Linda, for this conversation. And we'll have some more anyway. We'll come back with more video conversations and interviews with you and your work and the Enjoy Lab as well. Thank you so
Okay.
much, and we'll talk
Wonderful.
soon.
Thank
Bye for
you.
now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.